Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Gregg. This is I'd Rather Be a Buffalo. This is a show that is dedicated to helping you get through the storms of life with Christ's help, helping you grow deeper in your relationship with God, and helping you to discern what God's calling is for your life. Um, Here's the big thing that I've had to ask myself on a number of questions, on a number of occasions, and it's usually a question I have for God, which is, Lord, why am I having so many overwhelming feelings? Why am I overthinking? Can you please help me stop this madness, this loop that's going on? And sometimes it's a matter of not having peace. It's usually a situation where there's a lot of things that are going well, that are quite challenging, that are coming up for me. And it's not an easy thing to deal with. And I just had a feeling that had happened this last week where I thought, yeah, this is something I need to bring to you. That is what we're going to be talking about today. Um, Hey, listen, before we dive into it and before we talk about these feelings of overwhelm or overthinking, if you might be experiencing any of this stuff, I just want to tell you that there are a number of ways that you can actually support the show here. And if it's your first time, welcome. Um, I'd Rather Be a Buffalo is actually based on uh, a conversation that I started having years ago with my friend Doug Riddle. And we were actually creating this book, I'd Rather Be a Buffalo, which recounted the challenges that Doug went through in his life, learning that he was adopted at 10 years old, um, trying to navigate difficult situations they had coming to Jesus, adopting a son who then, in his early 20s, ended up committing suicide, and how he was able to get through those challenges with life, through life with God's help, with Christ's help. As we were writing this, Doug ended up getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he started sharing his experiences here on the I'd Rather Be a Buffalo channel, which you can go deeper into and see some of the past episodes that we did together. But all through it, Doug was able to do it with God's grace. So one of the ways that you can support us here on the channel is by going to I'dRatherBeABuffalo.com. The link is in the description for this video, and you can purchase the book, which is available in paperback, Kindle, and in Audible format on Amazon. That's one way to do it. Also, another way to help support the channel, I use the abilities and skills I have as a creative producer, director, and writer over the years to help Doug get this story told, and that's what I continue to do over at the Working Creatives community, which is on the school platform. You can join the hundreds of people that are over there that are working to get their creative projects done, get it to find their audience, and also get it to market so they can get some income and revenue coming in for the work that God has placed on their heart. They're not Christian specifically in nature. I truly do believe and know that God puts these creative skills and gives them to us for a reason, to point others towards the kingdom. So please, two ways you can help us: going to I'dRatherBeABuffalo.com and also going over to the Working Creatives community on the school platform. Link is below in the description. So yeah, I've had these feelings. I had a situation that came up last week that made me go, yeah, this is something I need to be dealing with. This feeling of being stuck in overthinking or just consumed by over planning and just trying to ask God for help. And the first thing that came to my mind, which is why I also have the thumbnail for this, and I mentioned in that thumbnail about bringing it to the garden, is thinking about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane and everything that he also went through, the mental anguish that he suffered the night before his crucifixion, and going to God and saying, Lord, if there's any way to take this cup from me, please, but if not, thy will be done. And I think that it's such an important thing to remember what Jesus has done, modeling that there's nothing that you have gone through in your life that that he hasn't gone through. And the fact is that he's also gone through that for us so that we have the opportunity to also lay it at his feet and go, Lord, I need your help. He understands the pressure, the heaviness, the anguish. He's been through it before. And I think it's such an important thing in order to come to him. And I think that part of that is also having a recognition of what you're dealing with. It's very easy to get overwhelmed with so many things that are going on in life. For me specifically, and why I'm bringing up this topic today, I think it was sort of it was a recognition, right? It was a recognition of patterns that have happened before, and that there are moments when you realize, oh, I'm at a decision point in my life, right? A decision point where, yeah, there may be some of these elements that I can't control and that I can't change, but I have to make a decision in my life to, number one, lay to God's feet, ask for his help as I'm going through this, recognizing that this people, places, and things are probably not going to change, but that I can ask for that strengthening of my heart, my mind, my spirit in order to get through these. And it's a very, very strange season, but I know that I've also gone through this before with their other circumstances. The fact is I just had this moment. I've been sharing here on the last couple of weeks that there's been, I lost a friend of mine a few weeks ago that had come into the Catholic Church at the Easter Vigil, and a very sudden loss. And trying to navigate all of this stuff. And, as I'm working with the family, we're preparing the funeral, which will be happening as the time that I'm doing this. We're going to be doing the funeral tomorrow for him. But there were definitely some moments where I was just getting overwhelmed with the preparation, the challenges that come up as you're navigating, putting these things together. While you're also dealing with work, while you're also dealing with other challenges, adult son with autism and all the things that can come up. And I just had this moment where I just had to go, Lord, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I understand that these things come up that I've got to take care of and that I've got to address, but the heaviness and weariness and dread, and also recognizing that this is a pattern of, that I'm probably also in a fog of grief that's happening too. So recognizing that too. But when I really kind of took a step back, I kind of went, there's something a little bit different here than just the fog of grief that's here. There's a heaviness and wounding when things aren't going exactly the way that I'm going, that I want them to go. And it's a little bit leaning into anguish here. And it was just this moment of going God, I don't want to feel this way. When things come up, right? Is there a way that I can get joy in my life? You even see it with, the Apostle Paul as he's in Rome and getting ready to be executed. He's talking about joy and peace that he has, right? Peace that passeth all understanding. And there's a part of me that's going, yeah, Lord, I want that. And I don't want this anguish that I'm going through, right? And I don't want, fear or control or over planning to run the show. And there's a couple of times over the last week, being fully transparent here, where I really had to kind of take my foot off the gas to realize, hey, you're overstepping into areas that you don't have to run that show, right? Do what you can in your area, take care of what you need to take care of to help people in this, but don't overreach, because when you overreach, you're getting into trouble, right? And I just started to realize this, and it's not like I haven't been here before where I've had to make these decisions in my life. And maybe there's some of this stuff that I'm going to talk about that you may absolutely resonate with, right? I remember, and believe me, I had a number of dysfunctional circumstances that I was in when I was growing up. I clearly remember, having a very, God rest her soul, but a very psychologically abusive second grade teacher when I was growing up, that however I was formed and created, it was not an easy class nor a year to go through at 7 years old. And just recognizing so many times I would try to get out of it by breaking into tears or by claiming that I was sick for a number of days just so that I didn't have to go to school and stay at home, and then recognizing like, yeah, you're gonna have to finish out the school year. Like you're still gonna have to show up and do your work, and having this moment of recognizing, even at 7 years old, of like going, all right, I have to do this. I don't want to be here. And I feel absolute dread going into that classroom, and dread with her, and not know, walking on eggshells, but I've got to weather this, like recognizing this at 7 years old. Um, and then also, this same sort of situation came up when I was about 11 years old, then going into 12 years old, sixth in the seventh grade. And again, having very, very harsh circumstances at school that were very overwhelming. I ended up putting on a ton of weight when I was about, late 11 into going into 12, uh, sixth into seventh grade. And it was like I probably gained like a solid 20, 25 pounds of just fat, and just like ballooned up. And it was a way of me trying to cope with um, hurt and just feeling so off my seat, so off my feet and unsteady. And I turned to food, right? I turned to candy and chips and soda because that stuff would make me feel good for a while. But I had the ramifications where then I got to the other part of it, and I was, now being made fun for being a fatso and all this other stuff, and just having this moment of going, well, this isn't the answer either, and I need to get through this, right? Um, the another moment that happened for me after, when I was in my I think it was in my mid 20s, when I got diagnosed with testicular cancer. And even though I'd gone through the surgery and the radiation treatment and all that stuff, and it looked like everything was in the clear, that I started getting hit by a massive wave of deep, dark depression that was coming over me. And recognizing in that moment that even though I really had a surface relationship with God, and was kind of going through the motions, particularly with my Catholic faith, I was really nominally Catholic, even though I'd received all of my sacraments. It had been years since I'd been really, truly, actively focusing on what this stuff was, and recognizing once I got to a deep, dark place with depression and not great thoughts running through my head, suicidal ideation and stuff like that was going through, even though I'd survived this cancer episode, recognizing that I truly needed God in my life, that I really needed to get back to what my roots were. So grateful for my friend John Eden during that time. Obviously, my wife Kate, who supported me through all of that stuff. But it was, those two people that, again, I was able to get back into my deep relationship with God and with Christ, to help me through that. And then years later, also being in a moment of like, you think it's out of the fire, right? Out of the frying pan and into the fire, right? How sin just kind of keeps showing up. When I had a moment of, again, then abusing alcohol for years, where it was just like, oh, just having it for fun and relaxation, and then starting to use it as a outlet of like, well, I've had a really hard day and I've deserved this, and then just having that increase more and more, and increase my alcohol consumption. And then just having the moment where I recognized, through a conversation with Kate, of recognizing like, oh, I'm teetering on the brink here of destroying my marriage and my family, and this isn't helping. Like the alcohol is not helping me numb the pain and the discomfort and the other things I was having. So I bring up all of this stuff as just um, I bring all of it up for a reason, which is recognizing these patterns I've had. And obviously, and this is something that happens when you go through 12-step programs, right? Like I've gone through Celebrate Recovery, and now I'm going to be investigating Catholics in recovery. But as you start recognizing this, you start recognizing that there are deeper things, and it's not about being in a cycle of victimhood at all. That's not the purpose of this. But there is always sort of a spiritual investigation and detective work and excavation that you're doing, that you're going down deeper. And I really had this moment of, particularly over this last week, with like these waves of this, you know, anguish and discomfort and worry and overwhelm, and recognizing there's more that's going on here, than what's normal, right? And recognizing, you know what, I think I have been in I've been in a period of dysfunctionality that's happened in my life that I haven't addressed. We're gonna hold on for 1 second. This happens during a live stream as my son tries to knock on the door. Hey Don, go take a break, buddy. Thanks. Go take a break. That happens in my life. So why not see it raw? Um, but recognizing that I've got these areas of dysfunction that have not been addressed in my life. And so it's one of those things of saying, you know what, Lord, I need to lay this at your feet. I need to lay this at your feet, and I need your help with this. So help me identify what this is. Not for me to become a a victim, or somebody that's I can't get any help. I can't figure out what stuff is. Guys, you can't control this on a live stream. Hold on 1 second. Hey Duncan, go take a break, please. Thank you. This is what happens when you have. I've got an adult son with autism. Sorry to go off track for a second, but I've got an adult son with autism, and that kind of happens. There's usually repetitive stimming behavior that's here. His mom's in another part of the house right now, so she can't hear him. So he will kind of come and then just knock on the door. So why not let you guys see a little bit of what I have to deal with that's here? It's not a bad thing. It's all joyous, right? But maybe this is some of the stuff that you can identify with as well too. It's me recognizing it's not being in a cycle of victimhood or poor me, or it's not my fault. I don't think it's not my fault isn't the answer on this. It's not going to help. But what is going to help is a recognition of going like, oh, something's off, something's wrong, and I need to address that. And I think that what's come to me is the recognition of going, wait a minute, I definitely had dysfunctional environments when I was growing up that have to be addressed. And all right, let me address that also in my recovery and in my process, and also bringing it to the Lord, and bringing it to Jesus, and bringing it to him the same way that he would do that in the Garden of Gethsemane, and just saying, hey, let's get out of this pattern that's been going on, right? This pattern of like feeling wounded or hurt when things don't go my way. And particularly, and this may resonate with a lot of you that are here, this pattern of like, you know, what's going on here? Things aren't going my way. I've put in time, work, energy, and thought on stuff, and if an outcome doesn't land the way that it is, that it feels like personal rejection. And for me, the way that this can get kind of muddied and kind of go unhealthy, it has feelings of like, feeling of being dismissed, feeling as if I'm being belittled by someone, feeling as if I'm being ignored. Um, but I think I'm coming to the recognition of going, wait a minute, man. Maybe these people or situations, they're not meaning that at all, right? This is, I don't have to accept this as a personal attack. And it's the recognition of going, hey man, I can't control people or places or things. Um, that's not my battle. That's God's space. That's not mine, right? Um, but these thoughts I'm feeling, and maybe you may identify with them as well. Um, they're not to be ignored. They're not to be bullied, even by myself, right? Like, God, why do you feel that way? You're such an idiot. Why are you doing that, right? Um, or not to be dismissed, right? It can be very easy, even with people that are they're in your immediate circle. What's a big deal? You just need to get over that, right? It's a little bit more than that. So it's me recognizing it's not that, um, but it does have to be addressed. And so that's where I'm going to go. Because here's the thing: in the end, man, I just want to see. My hope and prayer is that I get to see circumstances clearly, right? I don't get to see it through the lens of old wounds, not through a fear of rejection, and not needing to control the outcome. It's so weird, guys. Like, it's so weird how Satan operates. Even before I was coming on this stream, I literally had just like a memory that had happened from over 30 years, 30 years ago in a work environment that just went, it just it stung me deeply because I hadn't thought of it for a long time. And as I'm getting ready to do the stream, all of those feelings come up. And man, that's not the answer either. That's not the answer either. So all I got to do with this is it's basically all this is just one step at a time. It's one recognition at a time. It's one prayer at a time. It's one surrender at a time. And it's one step forward with God. So that's where I'm at today. And I hope that resonates with you. And if you've had these similar feelings um, and you feel so led, share it in the comments. I would love to hear. I'd be more than happy to respond to you. Um, I'm exploring part of this now. I've explored this with Celebrate Recovery. I'm going to be exploring this with Catholics in Recovery over the next several weeks or so. But we don't have to do it alone. We have God's grace, and then we also have fellowship that can happen with other people that can identify this as well. So anyway, more than anything else, I just wish you peace on your journey. I hope that me getting to share some of this helped you as well. And grateful that you're here. Please do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can find out when I'm going on a live stream again. And you know what? Glory to God in the highest and peace on earth to people of good will. Thank you guys for joining the show. And I will see you on our next episode. God bless you. Bye-bye now.